Robert Courts coming to you live from your backyard. But since Wednesday, I have been doing the Jazz Fest in place and enjoying the beats and rhythms of New Orleans. So I thought it would be a great day to reach out to our friend Greg Whitt, who is a rhythm master and owner of Drum for Change. Greg, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, Robert, thanks so much for having me on your show today.
Well, always a treat to check in with you. Love what you do. You are a master of the self employed, a man who made a business around his passions, and that is a noble and admirable feat.
Thanks. I just like getting people together and building community and doing that in ways that are fun and engaging. And that's what I'm all about in the world. In fact, I'm speaking to you today from my backyard studio, one of my favorite places to hang out with you in my backyard when we have our summer parties. We do the lawn and talent show
Love the talent.
back here live. And so I'm out looking on the lawn planning this year's event.
Well, love your backyard. Always a fun time. Y'all have such community just overflowing literally in your backyard. But for our newer viewers, tell us a little bit about Drum for Change, please.
So, Drum for Change is a consultancy, if you will. You might call me an edutainer. You might call me a team building specialist. You might call me an arts educator. I call myself a professional drum circle facilitator. It's my job to help people bang on things and make noise and make that as engaging and musical as it can possibly be. So I do that by bringing a van full of drums and percussion instruments to your corporation, congregation, community, or classroom. You set up a circle of chairs, put people in them. I give them instruments and teach everyone to play nicely together.
Oh, quite an
I think it's the
accomplishment.
coolest job. It's lots of fun.
I've been in one of your drum circles, and it is a lot of fun. And you don't know that you're kind of being herded toward an agenda or cooperation or learning experience. You just kind of fun your way into it.
Yeah, it's a sneaky learning model, right? We do it as a tiered approach, right? Where we get you engaged first and build some familiarity with the tools that we're using. In this case, drums and percussion instruments. Teach you some games so that you're interacting with the other people in the group with you, and then show you some old world ways, teach you some music from down in the village to show how the ancestors did this way back when, and then modernize that by helping everyone create drum jazz, making up their own music together.
Nice. Drumming really is in a circle amongst your peers primal. You know, we've been doing that as a species for eons.
It's true. You don't do that with saxophones, though. You know, drums make it really easy.
Yes, we can all drum, most of us, and I can't make anything but a squeal out of any horn instrument. And I know I've tried. Well, you do a lot through the school system, and you introduced me to one of the things the school systems has their fair for local artists. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because that's a fascinating experience, I think.
Yeah. So here in Wake County, uh, the Artists in Schools program is largely funded by the PTA, the Parent Teacher Associations.
Mhm.
So when guest artists come in and do assemblies or classroom presentations or residencies at schools, very often it's not the school budget that's paying for that, it's the parents.
Right.
But they get a little help through our local arts agency, the United Arts Council of Raleigh and Wake County, who provide matching funds for those programs. So about half of what I do changes youth development work. So school programs, summer camps, those kinds of things, after school events. And the other half is adult programming. So in schools, I'm coming in and I'm teaching life lessons through music, right? What can we learn about playing nicely together that'll help serve us in the larger world?
Well, I sort of remember
But I
from,
can't do that now. We're on shutdown, right? Because groups aren't gathering and schools are closed. So we're trying to reimagine how that happens as an industry among my colleagues. You know, how do we continue to serve our communities to provide creative outlets and musical engagement?
What are you doing? That's a great segue.
Yeah. So what I've come up with is this crazy new idea I'm calling the Lease and Learn program. So I've got 25 drums that I normally take out to use with groups that I can't use right now. They're sitting silent. In fact, they're sitting right over there. Here, I'll show you one. They look like this.
Oh,
Uh, and so
nice.
what I'm doing is sanitizing these drums, wiping them down, spraying them with the cootie spray, and then delivering them to your door. So people can rent these drums, and along with that rental comes online drum lessons. So I put up a private YouTube channel. Subscribers get links twice a week to new drum lessons, and they can check out and still learn from Greg in a one-on-one vibe, but it just happens to be over the screen and done virtually.
Well, what a great idea. So can we scale it up? I got 2 or 3 kids that need to beat the heck out of something. Can I get 4 so we're all playing?
Well, I'm kind of limiting it to 2 per household,
Okay,
right?
fair
So
enough.
that there's enough mojo to go around. But then I'm also teaching other ways of going about it. So the last lesson that I produced was all about using other sounds in your house. So
Ooh,
how do
nice.
you take that old Pepsi Cola bottle and a chopstick and make a tink sound? How do you take that pair of wood sticks out of your yard or that old broomstick handle and make some Latin clave sounds that you'd hear in Latin jazz? How do you take that cardboard box from Amazon or the liquor store, flip it over, tape it up, and bang on that to make your own drum at home if you don't want to rent one or you don't already have one there? There's other ways to go about it.
Fascinating. So that you can get the rhythm even when the drums are gone, just out of things handy in your own household.
Right, and that's how a lot of the traditional drums evolved. The West African djembe drum that's so popular in the drum circle scene right now was thought to be an old mortar and pestle that the women would grind the grain in with a big stick, and eventually
Wow.
they ground so poked a hole through the bottom, and so that they threw some animal hide on that, and it became a djembe drum. Down in
Repurpose
Kenya,
it.
the conga drums evolved out of the barrels that they were using on the shipping docks. And down in Peru, the shipping crates, they started banging on those, and that became the cajon drum that's so popular in acoustic rock and that settings these days.
Well, that's very interesting how over time we've just repurposed things and turned them into our instruments. And that's a nice educational piece. I'm excited just to have the boy banging on the drum for a little while and getting a little of his yayas out. So that'll.
Right?
Um, and if I may mention it now, it's very gracious of you. Jeff has offered the first one to reach out. He has a 2 drum free lesson to donate. Thank you, Greg. I appreciate that. How do we get in touch with you?
So I'm online. Facebook is Drum for Change, or on the interweb at www.drum, that's drumforchange.com, drum, just one drum, FOR change.com. And you can reach out to me there. Shoot me a note. My business line is on there, and a contact form if you need that, or just send me an email and let me know. But thanks to that gracious offer, whoever reaches out first, we're going to lend you that drum for 30 days. And then with the drum come the lesson. So somebody's going to get the hookup, thanks to you guys.
Well, that's great. We are happy to do it. And Greg, you're not only a friend and a great asset to the community as far as your business, but you're also really tied in with the arts. And I think you've been out promoting them on some local media. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, so I guess for the past year or so, I've been working with an agency over at NC State University in the graduate school with Parks, Rec, and Tourism. And they have a program called People First Tourism that started as kind of an incubator, an internship platform where students could actually get engaged in helping micro entrepreneurs such as myself develop their businesses. And so they were doing things down in Eastern North Carolina. They were doing things out in the mountains. They were doing things down in the Caribbean. A lot of it around this idea of, you've heard the whole farm to table movement,
Mm-hmm.
right? So they're going backwards. They're going fork to farmer. Go back and meet the people that are growing your food. When the city of Raleigh heard about this, they asked People First Tourism to develop some downtown Raleigh tours. And so we came up with some ideas for them. If you go downtown, you want to do the brewery tour, you want
Right.
to do the coffee tour, and you
Oh,
want to
yeah.
do the art tour, because those are great scenes to explore. And
All
so
at
I
the same
started giving
time.
art tours. Yeah, you can do them all at the same time, depending on the time of day, right? But that was my thing, was let's create some art tours. Let's get some people around and do the behind the scenes look at my favorite galleries and my favorite artists. And so it was just a neat opportunity to take people around and introduce them to cool art and cool people. And so we had been doing that for all the First Friday gallery crawl events. But now those are all shut down. The galleries aren't inviting people in, they aren't hanging new art. They're working with what they've got in place. And we're starting to do some virtual tours. We just did this with United Arts last month for First Friday, where I came in and gave a drum demo and told a drumming story and a little lesson, an instrument demonstration. And then they showcased the art that was there. And so they had taken a video and slideshow of all the art that was hanging up. In this case, it was the art of kids in Wake County schools.
Oh,
And so they had the teacher giving a voiceover, explaining what you were seeing. It was just fabulous. There's a whole gaggle of people on that call, and they're doing it again on May 1st for the May 1st Friday. So it's a great opportunity to check in and hit the downtown art scene a little bit and see what's going on.
I think our friend Georges is highlighted this Friday.
Oh, it could be. Yeah, that would be great. What a fantastic guy.
Yeah, he's so groovy. Much like you, Greg, and I cannot begin to highlight enough the power of local arts. Sometimes when I'm out there preaching the power of local art, it's about the beauty and the uniqueness that y'all bring to our city. But it really is more than that. These are city ambassadors who are promoting Raleigh, promoting nonprofits out there, really building the community. So it's not just the art you produce, it's the way y'all interact with the citizens. And you are a fine example of the power of local art, Greg. So thank you.
Thanks for that. We're trying to keep people connected to the idea that there's a lot more to Raleigh and the Triangle than just a tech hub, right? There's some really groovy people doing funky stuff here, and those are the folks that you want to invite to your dinner parties, because they're going to be a much more entertaining conversation.
Oh, yes. We can talk about things off the spreadsheet. Raleigh, I'd just like to remind you that the local arts, Greg Whitt, Drum for Change, all of that and more is right here in your backyard. So don't forget the power of local art. Reach out to Greg if you want a free drum lesson. And thank you for joining us. We'll see you guys soon. Thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Robert. Have a great day, you guys.